What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the All-Star break. Josh Hart's toes are in the sand. OG Anunoby is returning soon. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are out in San Fran, enjoying themselves for some All-Star festivities. Mitchell Robinson is soon come. Let's talk some Knicks.
Run that intro.
Basketball.
You're listening to the Knicks Nation podcast, where we've got all your Knicks needs covered.
Puts up a three. Bang! Bang! He ties the game!
Now, live from the city that never sleeps, here are your hosts, Anthony and Chris.
What's going on, Knicks Nation? Thank you for tuning in to another Knicks Nation podcast. This is episode 98 of the Knicks Nation podcast. If you're on Spotify or Apple, please hit that follow button. Please leave us a rating. It really helps out on the audio side. YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. It is the All-Star break. We're here. We've made it. Knicks are number 3 in the Eastern Conference. Felt like they've been number 3 for the entirety of the season. Much needed break. Got some reinforcements coming back soon. Mitchell Robinson and Anunoby's getting super close. Like I said, Jalen Brunson, Cat in the All-Star game, All-Star festivities. So, Chris, what's good? All-Star
break. It's fun seeing the guys out there, They were just battling with each other. Towns and JB, that is. Yep. Kind of fun to see them out there, messing around and going at each other. And for those, who haven't watched it yet, I won't spoil what happened, but who knocked who out, but I'll just leave it at that. And how are you doing tonight?
Feeling good. Look, nice little break. It's also a break for, content creators, but we never rest. Obviously, we're on here too, but nice little break for the guys. It's going to be a fun episode. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, defense. Got some Stephen A. Smith audio. But this episode is pretty much going to be, look, you guys can, chime in with your questions as well. And we'll get to your questions in the chat. I see all you in the chat already. Thank you for the support as always. But it's going to be another fun one, Chris. We got Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, the thumb. The thumb looks good. It seems like it looks good. It seems like it's not hurting him, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, look, even tonight, right? Even in All-Star Sunday, Cat is showing off, man. We had a logo 3 from Cat.
Exactly. And he had a few big, logo 3, and then he had another deep one in the All-Star game. And then even the prior couple of games, he's looked great from 3. So I'm assuming the thumb is back. So either he's feeling much better, or he's playing, or he's found a way to play through the thumb injury. I'm hoping he's feeling much better. But yeah, look, that's a positive. And obviously, the Knicks number 3 in the Eastern Conference, Chris. Like I said, we have some Stephen A. Smith audio that we'll get to in a second, but all in all, man, I've said it in my last video. I feel like the first half of the season was good for the Knicks, and I put a B grade on their first half season. If I was to give it a grade, what would you grade it?
I'd say B as well. I think that's fair. Maybe I'll go a little bit B minus, just because there's been some bumps in the road that I didn't think were going to be issues.
Yeah.
Such as the defense, but yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, look, the third in the East, I would give it a B grade. Obviously, they're without Mitchell Robinson, and the timeline seems like it just keeps getting pushed back. Latest from Ian Begley is that he probably won't be up full speed until like mid-March, but they're hoping to get him back before that March 1st deadline. It's funny how it kept getting pushed back, and now we're here in the middle of February, and Knicks don't play until this coming Thursday. So, regarding Mitchell Robinson's status, that's still up in the air. I think we're going to get OG Anunoby back. He's been a game-time decision these last couple of games, and the Knicks just have decided not to push it. And that's why Anunoby has been out. So yeah, look, when you kind of take the broader approach, Chris, I know it's like defense has been the issue, right? Especially over these last like 5 games, they're 25th in defensive rating in their last 5 games. And so I was listening to, sports radio, and is it better to have an easy season like the Cleveland Cavaliers, or is it better to have a grind of a season, build some scar tissue? Cleveland, for example, they're having, I wouldn't say their season is easy, but they're having, they're coasting. They're playing well. They're dominating teams. Or do you think it's better to take the approach that the Knicks are having currently and, losing close games, but also winning close games and going through the grind, learning through adversity? I think I heard this question from Alan Hahn. So, Chris, I think I know where you're going to lean on this one, but what do you say?
I mean, look, just taking it at face value, without any context, right? I would definitely say you want to have those grinded out type of games. And we saw that with the Knicks early on, right? We couldn't beat anyone if it was a close game down the stretch, or if we got punched in the face early, we just wouldn't come back. We wouldn't win those games. We couldn't close out close games. I always lean towards a team that has to battle and kind of earn their right, basically, and that's kind of what the Knicks have done. The thing is, I can't really say Cleveland has had an easy schedule per se. I mean, I know they did have an easy start for sure. And obviously the Knicks have one of the tougher schedules, in the league. But, in context, I think the thing about Cleveland is they have that chemistry built in, and that's what we're striving to do. This is year one of this core the Knicks have assembled, and we look pretty damn good, Granted, they drive us a little bit crazy when it comes to the defensive end, but, I think those are all things that will come full circle once we get some more chemistry with these guys in year 2 and year 3.
I agree. Tony in the chat says it's better to take the Cavs route rather than, build some scar tissue and have like the bumpy road and, just go through adversity. And I understand both. Look, it's a long season, so either way, I mean, look, Cleveland is just they're playing incredible. They're number one in the Eastern Conference for a reason, and they acquired DeAndre Hunter at the trading deadline. They improved their team. Their coaching staff is great. They stole Johnny Bryant from us, but Cleveland's been playing well. But there's just a part of me who like the talk of the town just has been the Cavs for good reason for the majority of the season, and there's just a part of me who I'm not worried. I'm still not worried about them. I don't know. I just know the Knicks play well against them. I know it's a totally different team. We need Mitch to do that. But right now, the Knicks are number 3 in the East, right? So they're on a collision course with Boston in the second round of the playoffs. And if Boston can leapfrog the Cavs, and obviously that flops to the Cavs in the second round of the playoffs. But, there's been just a lot of talk, especially in the media. Where, like I said, we have the Stephen A. Smith audio. But the defense has to get better, Chris. It has to be in the top 10. If you look at all the contenders in the East or all the contenders in the NBA in general, they're all up there. They're all in the top 10, 11, 12. Knicks are currently 18th in defensive rating, and they've just taken a hit lately. Like I said, last 5 games, they are 25th in defensive rating. So defense, number one priority, Chris. Obviously, the last game versus the Hawks where you gave up $140.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real, that was a game where both teams are basically just like, if we're not playing any defense, whoever outscores the other is going to be the winner. I mean, that was rough. I mean, the Knicks had that game and, unfortunately went to OT, but hey, a win is a win. I don't even want to think about that. Look, defense is the glaring issue. I mean, we had times in the season, obviously it's been a roller coaster ride, but the Knicks at one point, they were inching closer to getting to that, 10th overall defensive rating in the league, and just inconsistency, and then obviously a few injuries here and there. And now you're 18th, which is not too far away from where you kind of want to get to, because I still say give me 15th and below, and I think we're in a good spot. But like you mentioned, last 5 games, 25th in defensive rating, that is just not going to cut it. Whether they were just trying to coast their way to the All-Star break or something, who knows? But I'm expecting that to get better. I mean, hopefully that's not a trend that just continues to go and spiral until we're like one of the worst defensive rated teams out there, which I highly doubt. But, what did the Knicks do to get better defensively? I mean, I like to think a part of that will be Mitchell Robinson's return.
And obviously, OG Anunoby will be right. He's been missing. And, Mikal took some slings and arrows, especially on the post game versus the Atlanta Hawks, but he had a good defensive possession against Trae Young in the overtime. So it has to get better, man. It just does, right? And let's just get to this earlier. So Stephen A. Smith was on, obviously, First Take, and he was, complaining about the Knicks and, obviously up to his shenanigans. But there is some truth to what he had to say in this audio. So here is Stephen A. Smith on First Take talking about the New York Knicks.
If you're the New York Knicks, listen, you're pissing me off. I'm really getting disgusted with this organization right now, okay? I understand that you went out there and you got Karl Anthony Towns, who's been lights out. The brother's doing special things. Nothing but love for my man Cat right there. But I'm looking at the New York Knicks. Where's their identity? The story of the game is that they gave up 149 points. A Tom Thibodeau team has given up 149 points. Where's Tom Thibodeau at? Where is he? This imposter that's on the sidelines. You understand what I'm saying? Looking like Tom Thibodeau. Ain't the Tom Thibodeau that I know and love. Where's the defense at? Do you realize that the New York Knicks, how horrible they are defensively? Offensively, they are off the charts. I think that Jalen Brunson, I heard you earlier, Wendy, top 5 candidate for league MVP honors. The brother is balling out. We know what Karl Anthony Towns is doing. But I'm looking at the New York Knicks right now. No surprise for a Tom Thibodeau team. Ranked dead last in the NBA in bench minutes and bench scoring. I'm so surprised. So now you're questioning their depth, okay? And then defensively, yes, OG Anunoby has been out the last 5 games. Yes, they've been 4-1 in his absence. But their defensive rating is one of the worst in the league.
So that's Stephen A. Smith bringing up identity, and he's calling out Tom Thibodeau, saying that there's an imposter coaching the New York Knicks. It is not Tom Thibodeau coaching the New York Knicks. Some truth in that, Chris. Identity. He brings up identity. Obviously, their identity is offense. But they're a great offensive team.
Yeah.
And, they can score with the best of them. If not, they are the best. Obviously, Bronson and Cat having amazing seasons. Josh Hart and Obi, before he went down, was having a resurgence. Mikal Bridges, when you put the full package together, he's actually having a good season. So their identity is, their offense. But defensively, they've taken a hit. They have. Teams are attacking Karl Anthony Towns pick and rolls, and teams are attacking the Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns pick and roll combination. That's not a good combo. And Cat needs to be better defensively, but he's at a point in his career where it is what it is at this point. But obviously, we'll talk about when Mitch comes back, and that's why I want Mitch to start alongside Karl Anthony Towns. But what do you got to say on Stephen A. Smith talking about identity? Where's their identity?
I mean, that's kind of valid, in my opinion, when it comes to identity, right? I still think this team is still trying to find what their identity is. And we thought they were getting back to that identity that we thought they had last season, right? Just a gritty team, getting after it on defense, playing hard, making the other teams feel them.
Yeah.
And then, last 5 games, we could take a back seat to that. The same type of effort just wasn't there defensively, right? So I still think there is some, it's a valid what Stephen A. Smith said as far as their identity, right? But I think part of that also is we're so used to Tom Thibodeau-led teams being defensive juggernauts, just going out and that being the DNA. And that's not to say this team doesn't have that per se, but I think this is one of the better offensive teams Tom Thibodeau has ever coached, in my opinion. So it's only natural, and it took me a while to kind of, buy into it, where this is more an offensive heavy team than it's going to be defensive.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get, we're not going to be top 5 in defense, out there. That's why I said early on, if we are around the 15th range defensively, pair that with the offensive firepower that we have and that we're capable of, we'll be good. Because maybe that's the identity, right? You have all that offensive firepower, and maybe that makes up for the things you lack on defense here and there.
That's what you hope. And look, Knicks have 2 marquee matchups at the end of this month versus Boston and Cleveland. What stinks is that they are 0-3 against them, and more recently they got blown out again. And the Knicks, say what you want, you could say they built their team to kind of match up against Boston, and in the 2 times that they played them, they've gotten their doors blown off. So, yeah, that's a problem. That's an issue. And obviously Stephen A. Smith, he's really good at what he does. He gets paid the big bucks for a reason. He, gets a reaction out of Knicks fans, and he's getting a reaction out of us. But there is some truth to what he said regarding Tom Thibodeau, that there's an imposter right next to the Knicks bench. That was kind of funny, but the reality is a Tom Thibodeau team, defense is normally the identity. But with this team, like Chris just stated, the offense is so good. The offense is so good at times that defensively, that is just an area where you're just hoping that a healthy Mitch and a healthy OG Anunoby can improve that a little bit, and I think they will. But, Tony says in the chat, he says, Mike, what's going on? I see you in the chat as well. Tony says, I believe the reason that why the defense has not been good is because our bench size and injuries. Having a new lineup like we have, it takes chemistry to play with on both ends. And once a Nick, always a Nick says nope, because we don't have iHeart and Dante. This Rover, what's going on? This Rover says Stephen A. Smith is too much. Loud and clear. What's going on, Loud and clear? Appreciate you in here. Says we don't accept Stephen A. Smith. Tony says this team can definitely be in top 5 defense, but we got to be healthy against certain teams, make adjustments to the bench and starting lineups. Look, the adjustments to the bench are really what? Obviously, the main adjustment I want to see is when Mitch comes back, you start him. You move Josh Hart to the bench because against Boston, you're too small. Josh Hart can't guard those guys. Too small against them. I mean, Luke Cornett was feasting against you. Feasting. Embarrassing. Embarrassing stuff. And obviously with Cleveland, you got Jared Allen and you got Evan Mobley. 2 big boys down there. Mitchell Robinson makes a difference, man. That's why Knicks, they feel confident when he comes back. He can provide a huge boost. Obviously, that's putting your eggs in a basket where it just hasn't worked out for you. I mean, he's been hurt. Now I'm hoping that he comes back and he's good, but it just seems like the Knicks want him to be 1,000%. So defensively, Chris, the only area where I see improvement in the future is obviously you got to get OG back, because without him, I mean, look, Brunson has been good this year. He's actually been better defensively for the New York Knicks, but Bridges, asking a lot from him. Cat, we know how he is in pick and rolls, and versus the Atlanta Hawks, not boxing out, and he just didn't really want to play bully ball down there, and we need that. We need a guy like that. And I'm kind of rambling here, but Mitch and OG coming back will help that.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially Mitch, but like you mentioned, the key is health, right? Mitch comes back. Hopefully he's healthy. Now, you mentioned starting Mitchell Robinson. Yeah. Are you doing that off the rip? Or is this more situational depending on who you're playing?
They're not going to start him off the rip. I can probably guarantee that. They're going to ease him in. Maybe you'll close some lineups with him. But why do I hear that go? But yeah, I don't think that I don't think they're gonna start him.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I do think, when he does get some starts, eventually once he gets obviously his back into playing shape, I think it'll be more situational. I still think you want Mitch off the bench per se. Let Cat play that 5 spot. Go small when you can and go bigger when you need to against teams like, the Celtics per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson, they're going to give us a boost on the defensive end. And hopefully Mitch stays healthy. Usually the MO with Mitch is starts the season well, and then, towards the end of the season, he has a devastating injury and we lose him. This has kind of been the opposite. It's not to say it can't happen again. He can't, hopefully not, but hopefully he stays healthy and kind of, takes a different path. I'll just put it that way. That's the hope. But again, I don't think the Knicks were getting anything better than what they could expect to get from Mitchell Robinson if if he gets back to the same playing shape and that he was last year before he got hurt. So, I think obviously him, OG is going to be a big difference. But Mikal Bridges, man, I mean, he looked like he started to figure things out. He's being more aggressive defensively, scoring well as well, playing good defense. And then kind of fell off a little bit of a cliff, man. Do you think it's just simply, look, he's leading the NBA in minutes played? Is the man just tired and couldn't wait for the All-Star break? Or are we seeing Mikal Bridges, go back into a little bit of a funk here?
You bring up Mikal, so look, obviously during the post games, a lot of people, this is one person who always comes in the post games. Lately, the last 2 games, she's been coming in the post games and just bagging on Mikal Bridges, like worst trade of all time. You got to trade him in the summer. Last 4 games, Mikal Bridges, 11.3 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 3.3 assists. He's become the punching bag, Chris. He's become the punching bag. Obviously, when you attach that many picks to him, they want him to play like Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they want him to play like a superstar. Look, he leads the entire league with 2,061 minutes played, but his corner 3-point percentage is 45%. Non-corner 3 is 29%. I would give him like a B, like maybe a B minus if I were to grade him. And we'll go through the grades for every single Knick in a second. But I would look. I'm not worried, Chris. I'm not worried. Without getting into too much detail, I'm not worried.
I think now in light of the Luka Doncic trade and all that, I feel like there's just going to be that much more pressure. Maybe not so much on Mikal, but just on that trade in general, right?
Yeah.
Everything's just going to be magnified now that everybody just seems to ignore that Anthony Davis is still a hell of a player and rightfully, worth a couple of first-round picks on his own. But, I think that's probably what's happening as far as people, coming and attacking Mikal Bridges even more so than ever.
Yeah.
But, look, if I had to give Mikal Bridges a grade up to this point, I'd say a B minus. I'd say a B minus. Obviously, things didn't start off the way we wanted them, whether it was the tweaking of the shot, just the defense not being there. But we've seen enough now where he's figuring it out, Obviously, it's been a bit inconsistent, which is not really what you would expect from Mikal Bridges with his history. But this is a whole new team that he's never been surrounded with players like this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you go back to like his Phoenix days. So it's a hell of an adjustment for Mikal. I think he's going to get better. But, I think the trade stuff is just never going to go away, especially considering what the Knicks gave up for him. And again, the Luka Doncic stuff. So that's going to live on until he wins a ring, right?
Yeah. Look, I get it. I do get it. But look, once the Knick, always the Knick says, Mikal looked very tired versus Atlanta. Whether the twisted ankle was bothering him, has been bothering him in these last couple of games, I think, obviously he's leading the league in minutes. That stuff catches up to you. If there's anyone that deserves a vacation, it should be Mikal during the All-Star break. But, Yeah, I mean, like the only thing that matters is if the Knicks. You know how Knicks fans are. Some Knicks fans are, Chris. Sometimes it's just that the excuse you gave is a valid one. He's new team, new situation, but people don't want to hear that, man.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear that stuff. And, these guys get paid millions of dollars, and these guys are professional athletes, and he's been good, though. But he's been good, and he's had a couple of stinkers. He has. But the Knicks' record is solid. Like, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with Mikal playing like this. I am. Because I didn't think Mikal Bridges was going to come in here and average 25, shoot 42% from 3, 7 assists, 8 rebounds. That's not who I thought Mikal Bridges was going to be. If you thought Mikal was going to do that, I'm sorry. He wasn't. There's one basketball. You got Cat, you got JB, you got OG Anunoby who wants the ball. You got Josh Hart now who's having a career season. It's obviously been the defense that's been Mikal's bugaboo. But if you were watching him last season in Brooklyn, I know there was a terrible situation, but it's kind of been similar. Nets fans, the sane ones, because you know how Nets fans can be crazy and delusional, they've said that Mikal's defense, at times could be a little bit overrated. And I'm not saying he's an overrated defender, but look, we've seen the upside, and there's some games where he's just been bad. And like somebody in the chat, loud and clear, says OG absence was bad for Mikal, put more pressure on him, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, look, it's interesting because how that has flipped, Chris. Remember, early on in the season, Mikal and OG separated. The Knicks were better defensively when they were separated. Then it started to be like, then you started to see the upside of having them both on the court where they were playing better. And now you're kind of seeing OG Anunoby out. Mikal's, you're leaning on him a lot. And, it's just, I just don't want to point the finger at Mikal. I just don't want to point the finger because it's not just him. But 5 first-round picks, when you attach that, that's what brings up the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you also can't forget, and Tony says this in the chat, I'll read Tony's comment. He said, I'd give Bridges a B+, considering he came here and is now a third option from being a number 1 on the Nets. And then that's something that you can't lose in translation, right?
Yeah.
On the Nets, he was the number 1 option, still playing defense, but you could kind of understand when he has to go out there and he's the focal point of scoring, why his defense might take a step back, right? Now he's on the Knicks, you could say, third option. Some nights he's probably the fourth option, who knows? But, that's a big adjustment in itself. And then being asked to basically get back to your prime days in Phoenix when you were just a defensive juggernaut and a stopper.
Yeah.
I think it's fair for him to have some struggles here and there, and we've seen it. There's been games where he's looked like that Mikal Bridges of the past, where that defense is just there and he's just stifling other players. And then we've seen what we saw, towards the end of his Nets tenure, which was, scoring the ball well, but defense not really being there and the effort just not being up to par with what we expect.
Yeah.
So I think it's part of the ups and downs. And like you mentioned, there was a time where he could not play next to OG Anunoby. It just was not effective. Then everything started clicking. Now OG is out, and he's kind of struggling now. Struggling to kind of, look, a lot is being asked of Mikal Bridges. And like you mentioned, it's not all on him. Defense, it's a team sport. You got to do it all together. And when you're missing a big piece like OG Anunoby, who, let's be real, covers up a lot of flaws the Knicks have on defense, it's going to be tough for anybody out there, in my opinion.
It is. Hopefully OG will be back soon, next game, after the All-Star break. Appreciate every single one of you joining us once again. Smash the subscribe button. Hit the like button as well. Get them likes up. Please, really appreciate you giving us your time. We are currently recording this, and the All-Star game is currently going on. obviously don't want to, obviously they changed the format and whatnot. And, JB was facing Cat in the first game and Cat's team won. And, but I don't know if I like the format, but we'll talk about that later on. But appreciate you guys tuning in again, giving us your time on this Sunday evening. It is the All-Star break. So, chopping it up. Not really much going on, but, we're kind of doing a quick review of the Knicks' first half. And now, we look forward into the second half where, hopefully we can get fully healthy here. All right, Chris, let's just do a quick grading system of every single Knick that has gotten substantial time. And if we defer, like if we're different on, certain grades, we'll talk about it. So,
all right.
I'm going to say a name, you give a grade, and then I'll give a grade, and then we'll just keep on going. So, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Jalen Brunson.
A+.
A+. OG Anunoby.
A-.
Yeah, I would give him a B+. This is the first half grading system. Like, we're just doing grades based on the first half. Just we'll talk about, why we gave them our grades. But you said OG Anunoby A-?
A-.
Okay, I'll give OG Anunoby B+. Precious Achiuwa.
I'll give Precious a B-.
I'll give Precious. Look, he had a good game the other day.
It's just one game.
I'll give him a C+, above average. Mikal Bridges.
B-.
Yeah, I would give him a B. I would give Mikal a B, based on my expectations. Josh Hart.
A+.
Yeah, A+. Porty.
That's tough.
Yeah,
I'll give him a
C.
I'll give him a C. I'll give him a C.
Yeah.
Just because he hasn't had that many moments, but when he's been out there, it's been pretty positive for the most part.
Yeah, it has been. Deuce McBride.
That's a tough one. I'll give Deuce a C+. I expected a lot from Deuce, and I know that he had the injury, kind of took him a while to round back. He has been playing better. Shots been falling. Obviously, some good news on his part, but I'll give him a C+ for now.
Look, I want to be fair as possible. I'll give him a C-. I expected a major season from Deuce McBride, and obviously injuries took a toll on that, and he's just been inconsistent. But the thing about Deuce McBride that I want to kind of get out of there, get out to you guys is, despite his play being up and down, just the threat of him on the floor just causes so many problems for, defenses and opponents. And, obviously OG Anunoby has been out and Dibs has gone with the Precious lineups. And, all of the Knicks' best lineups, Chris, like I've been saying it, like the Knicks' best lineup that has played over 100 possessions involves Deuce McBride. You got Brunson, McBride, Hart, and Anunoby, Towns. The second best lineup also has Deuce McBride with Bridges in there besides Josh Hart. You flip-flop them. So even though I'm giving him a C-, it's just been one of those seasons where – oh, congrats to Deuce McBride, by the way. He announced that he's having a baby with his girlfriend. So just want to give his congratulations out to Deuce.
Awesome. Congratulations, Deuce McBride.
Still don't have a drop for Deuce. That's a shame. Shame on me. But, yeah, C- for Deuce.
I think that's fair. I mean, I say C+. Hey, look, there's still a whole lot of season left. He could turn it around, but D+ for Deuce. Man,
expected a lot. Tony Natas says D+ for Deuce.
Yeah, I can't front. I was expecting a lot from Deuce. There's plenty of time, but I think C+ on my part for Deuce McBride. I think he's going to get better as the season goes on. But yeah,
Loud and Clear says Deuce needs to earn his keep the second half of the season. Then we got New Lord in here saying this team is not winning anything with Mikal as a starting 5. Not happening. New Lord says Mikal is an imposter. You don't win a championship with a player like that in the starting 5. Oh, man. You see, these are the Mikal Bridges trolls that I'm talking about, Chris, that have started to come out lately, but we ignore them.
I think plenty of NBA teams would love to have a Mikal Bridges on their team.
Campaign.
I'll give him a C.
Ooh, that's shocking. I give Campaign I'll give him a B+, man. So those
B+.
grades are different. Chris gives him an average. I'll give him a B+. Especially, look, he's coming here, blowing my expectations out the roof the first half of the season. And he's just one of those energizer bunnies that we need off the bench. And he's just provided a spark. His bad games, I've said it on the post games. I'm not really worried about them because that's Campaign. Like, he's going to have a streak of good games, and then he's going to have sprinkled in a couple of bad games in there. I mean, he's not great, but he's Campaign. But the threes that he provides, the energy, just the whole package, I just think that he's just been great for the Knicks.
I just feel like it's either hot or cold, right? With Campaign. Either he comes in there and he's a flamethrower, or he comes in there and, if you didn't have a lead, you're definitely not he's going to shoot you out of the game, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no in between. But, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but that's just the way I feel when I see Campaign. But I do love the grit. I do love he plays hard. Those are all things, obviously, we all love in New York basketball. But I just think it's just one way or the other, right? It's you're a flamethrower out there, you're facilitating, or you're just not doing much and making things worse. So I think C. I thought I was being fair, but that's my opinion on Campaign.
Just Rover says Cam gets a B+. Loud and Clear says Cam gets a B. C+ for Payne from Tony. Mike says B+ because he's learned that he can shoot us out the game. He's been going to the rack and getting easy chippies and shooting when it comes to him instead. Yeah, look, lately he's been going to the rack and he's been converting. Look, some guys have extremely nice touch around the rim, and Campaign is one of them. But look, versus Atlanta, 10 points. Indiana, 9 points. Boston, honestly, him and JB were kind of like the only guys that showed up offensively for the Knicks. 14 points versus Boston. I mean, look, he's been good, man. He's been good.
I mean, look, if he continues to do that, he'll definitely change my mind. If he continues to play, kind of without going crazy out there, I'll definitely change my tune.
AP, what's going on? Says hit those likes buttons. Appreciate you, AP. Robert says Cam has mostly been hot this year, and he does give energy. The team has put out that sleepy energy a lot this year. Yes.
That's a fact.
And look, Payne is obviously long-term. You don't know, but I would bet that he's probably not going to be on the team next year or whatever, but you don't know. But I just love that for the price that the Knicks got him for, like $2 million, spark off the bench. He's been solid. He's been good for the New York Knicks. All right. I don't know if I should Mitchell Robinson. I don't know if you want to. It's kind of unfair to grade it, but if I guess, like, were you expecting him to come back sooner? I guess would you say that, or I'm not gonna put a grade on it, but are you disappointed that he's not back yet?
I can't say disappointed because injuries are injuries, and you never know when or how they're gonna play out, right?
Yeah.
But we did hear early on, they were saying December, right? Late December, Mitchell Robinson's coming back. Then we heard beginning of January. Yeah. And obviously that became February. And now we're, hearing March, some point in March, right? So bit of a letdown, yeah, because obviously you do want to see this team whole sooner than later. But look, you know, Mitch, just get well, get better. Hope to see you on the court soon. You know, you can't rush the injuries, right? Because that's when you get in trouble. You know, you rush a player back, especially someone like Mitchell Robinson, and next thing you know, he's out for the season again. So it's tough to say. Obviously, a letdown that he didn't come back sooner. But hey, you know, you can only control what you can control.
Exactly. Loud and Clear says, yes, Mitch is out of sick days. Yeah, look, he's coming back soon. I cannot wait for that. Like, he's even posting videos now again, so I can't wait for that. All right. Karl Anthony Towns, A+, man. I mean,
I A++.
Look, Cat has been awesome, man. And like we said, the thumb seems like it's healthier. I'm not sure if it's fully healthy, but the moon balls are back. The rocket balls are back. He's shooting from – he's shooting this year. I wrote it down. He's 6th in the NBA in three-point percentage, 43% on the season. So, and lately, I mean, even tonight in the All-Star game, you saw him shoot from deep. And we've been missing that, man. We have been, and I was nervous, but it seems like it's back. So, obviously, defense, well, he's been okay. But when you consider everything, the trade right before the training camp, him and JB meshing extremely well.
Yeah,
him embracing the city, just A+ for Cat, man.
Yeah, A+++++, because for all the same reasons you just said. And look, I don't know if it's the thumb is just feeling better or he's just learned how to, you know, compensate and shoot better with that injury. Look, that's such a huge weapon for this Knicks team. We've obviously seen how teams were playing the Knicks when he couldn't space the floor. Things just got even tougher. So if we get this version of Karl Anthony Towns that we're seeing in this All-Star game, where he's shooting it from the logo with confidence, you know, that changes everything, you know? That changes everything for this team. So look, Karl Anthony Towns, he's come in here. I was one of the guys that were saying, you know, I'm not so sure you want to trade for his contract, blah, blah, blah. But, man, he's come in here and he's done way better than I could ever have expected or dreamt of.
Yes, he has. Edwin says, you guys are doing an awesome job. Appreciate you, Edwin, in the chat. Thank you for the support, as always. Yuri, what's going on? All right, so Landry Shamet. I think that's the last one. Yeah, Shamet.
Sham God. D+. D+, man. I was gonna go straight D-, but I'll say D+ because he's shown some life in the past like 2 or 3 games. I want to say. He
has, right?
Yeah, I mean, finally, right?
Look, the Jericho Sims treatment, man. They played some Hook Porty, it lit a fire under Jericho Sims' ass a couple of games. He balled out. Knicks made a trade, and everyone thought Shamet was bye-bye. They traded for DeLon Wright. Everyone thought he was Landry Shamet's replacement. And like Chris said, in these last few games, you've seen a sign of life from Landry Shamet. And it's about damn time, man, because, look, to be fair to him, he's coming off a bad injury. So I don't want to keep just ragging on him, but it's been, you know, a problem for the Knicks off the bench. And hopefully the signs of life that we have seen over these last 3 games, 6 points versus Boston, 11 versus Indiana, 4 points versus Atlanta. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was lighting it up in the preseason. And again, I know it's preseason, but you still got to take those shots and actually hit them, which is, you know, the core fundamental of what he does. He's supposed to be a floor spacer in a sense, you know?
Yeah.
So when he went down with the injury, I don't know if you remember this, but he had a few games before he basically got called back up to the team or got signed, I should say. And he was lighting it up. Hits the NBA floor and could not hit anything for like what? Literally the past 3 games, I want to say. So any D-, D+, you know, D, Landry Shamet, I just hope he's better in the second half, man.
Yeah.
There's no secret we could use his ability on our bench.
Yeah, if I was to give a grade, I'll give him an F. Honestly,
right.
failed. Sorry, sorry, but hopefully he can get improved. But we just have to wait and see. Appreciate you guys in the chat as always. All right, so Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, they are in the All-Star game. Shout out to the guys. Just to run down some quick statistics, I just want to shine some light on these two, Chris. Karl-Anthony Towns is sixth in the NBA in three-point percentage, 43%. He is second in total rebounds with 505, 11th in true shooting percentage with 64%, ninth in offensive rebounds. Hey now.
Wow.
But he is fourth in the league in personal fouls. Don't want to overlook that. But he's been awesome for the Knicks. Jalen Brunson is ninth in the NBA in assists with 7.5 a game, ninth in points per game with 26.1, fifth in total points, third in free throw attempts. So these guys have been obviously awesome, and yeah, not much more you can say about these two. Not much more you can say about these two.
That's a hell of a dynamic duo that, look, they're just going to get better and better and better as they play together. This is year one of Cat and Brunson. So just imagine next year, It's gonna be insane.
Robert says grade the coach.
Ooh.
Go ahead, Chris. Tom Thibodeau.
Tibbs a B-.
I would give Tom Thibodeau first half of the season. These are first half of the season grades. I would give him a B. Yeah, looking back at it, maybe a B- because early on in the season he had a 7-man rotation. Then I came on here screaming, "Why are you going to a 7-man rotation in November?" Then he had a change of heart. Somebody talked to him. More recently, he started to play Huck Porty. Huck Porty leapfrog Jericho Sims. We wanted to see Huck Porty more. But it's just not that. It's just like the in-game stuff versus Boston, especially more recently. It kind of raised an eyebrow because I thought he got thoroughly out-coached in that game, especially. And you hate to see that. But I'm hoping in these next two matchups versus Boston and versus Cleveland coming up in the end of February that we would see something different. But it's tough when I thought he should have played Huck Porty more in the beginning of the season because what we saw was an energized big with a really nice skill set that the Knicks were missing. And you really weren't. I know Jericho Sims had a few games sprinkled in there that were like okay, but you really, we really didn't see Huck Porty and Towns until I want to say the Raptors game, maybe a game prior to that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like I wanted to see that earlier. And then it just seems like before the trading deadline, he just like that was it with Sims, and Sims just got shipped off. But funny enough, regarding Jericho Sims, somebody in the comments said that apparently Jericho Sims is I don't even want to bring it up, but because I don't want to start anything, but yeah, I would give him a B-.
Yeah, I think B- is where it is. I mean, for me personally, it's a lot of what you wish Tibbs would do, right? So I wish he would get a bit more creative. At some of these close games where we've seen them go straight to ISO Brunson, should never have to do that in my opinion. When you got the offensive firepower you do on this team, you're just making it way too easy. To shut that down. Why not use all the players, come up with something creative? That's one of my bigger, I guess, problems with Tibbs is just creativity. Just do something different. And then, 7-man rotation, not playing the young guys, even when you just don't have bodies out there. So I say B-. I mean, I think Tibbs has made some changes. He's made some adjustments, but in going back to that Celtics game, when he went smaller with Deuce McBride and Precious was not out there. We made that run. That game was a 3-point game. And what does he do? Instead of riding the hot players that he had on the court, puts back in Precious, who was just getting cooked all game long. And in the blink of an eye, we're down 20 again. So those are the maddening things about Tibbs at times. But
Yeah.
B minus after talking about the Celtics game, they'll probably say C plus.
This Rover says Tibbs gets a C from me. Tony says C plus, loud and clear B minus. Yuri B, AP B minus. HRM says his change of heart was in January. LOL. B minus from Buzzer Beater. What's going on, Buzzer Beater? Mike says he would have gotten an A if he made these decisions when they were supposed to be made. They took too long to come for me. It's B minus or C plus. Yeah. Especially look. He recently started to change the Mikal substitution patterns, and then he went back. He reverted back to the old pattern. So he's taken. To me, it's just too long. And that's Thibs. That's Thibs. But it usually takes like 20, 25 games to adjust. And look, I'm not like the minutes and stuff. I get it. Mikal's leading the league. I mean, I think Hart is up there. Brunson is up there. I get it. But your best players are going to play. And, Anunoby has been rock solid for them. Hopefully he can get back soon. But, yeah, just the in-game stuff, the Porty stuff was just weird to me. I don't. And, look, this is not me calling up Porty like the second coming of Shaquille O'Neal. I'm just saying at times he could have just went to him. Like the 7-man rotation early on in the season just rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. But all in all, third in the East, with Mitch coming back. And I just want to see how it is when that happens. Like, does he go with Mitch in the starting five? Does he put Josh Hart off the bench? Because if he does that, that just opens up a lot of different things, man. Hart off the bench, Mitch starting with Cat. So just want to see more of that. But all in all, B minus. Yeah. Polarizing. A lot of people voicing their opinion in the chat. Appreciate that as always.
Yeah. Tibbs always will get the comments,
Tibbs will always get the comments, and whether you love him or you hate him, whether you're on the Tibbs wagon, a lot are not on the Tibbs wagon. But I've seen, especially some big content creators that ride with Tibbs no matter what, and we just have to wait and see for the what transpires in the playoffs. But I just when you factor everything in, B minus. So once again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Kind of reset the room a little bit. This is an all-star break live stream. Not much going on. We kind of graded the Knicks first half of the season. Now we kind of look ahead to the second half of the season. Knicks are kind of, solidify themselves in the third seed, Chris. And, they're on a collision course with Boston in the second round of the playoffs. Obviously, the 2 games that we played Boston don't give you any sense of confidence for the New York Knicks beating Boston. Tony brought up a question earlier that I haven't gotten to yet. I think he said if the Knicks don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, will it be considered as a failure? I got to see how it looks. I know it's like a cop-out, but I just do.
It's hard to say, right? Because what's the path, right?
Yeah.
If you meet Boston early on, right? Let's say second round, you meet Boston. You take them, it's a good series. You win 2-3 games, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just say something like that. I can't call that, a failure. Because that's the defending champ. That's the team you're trying to match up against in battle, right? So,
yeah.
Now, if you meet Cleveland, I think that's where you got to take care of business, and if you don't, I think that would be a failure because you've proven that you can match up with that starting five. You can beat that starting five, regardless of their improvements.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it would be a tough pill to swallow, and I'd be like, man, we missed our shot to get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I like that. Because you've seen how it looks against Boston. So I mean, if they beat you again in a couple of weeks, it's night, man. I mean, the second round. I mean, just look towards the summer, man. Like Yuri said, it's year one, so it's not a failure, and I totally get that. And look, the core of Boston have been around for years until they built some chemistry. But I wouldn't. Beautifully said, by the way. I think if it's second round, like if you get beat by Cleveland, like let's say I don't know, if you get beat by Cleveland, that's no, that can't happen. Like I don't want that to happen. I don't. Even though Cleveland's playing well and different team, but I just feel like we can take Cleveland. I just feel like if we can, in order for that to happen, Boston will have to leapfrog Cleveland. So it goes Boston 1, Cleveland 2, Knicks 3. Knicks get past the first round. They play, let's say, Detroit, who is the 6th seed right now in the playoffs. Knicks Pistons, you'll win. You advance to the second round. Chris's scenario is if Cleveland's in the 2nd seed. And if you lose to Cleveland in the second round and don't even get a chance to even play Boston, then I consider that, you can consider that kind of like a downer season. You can, with the healthy Mitch and Obi in the whole 9. But can't wait. Yeah. But Chris, I'm telling you, man, look, out of the break, you got Bulls, you got Cleveland. Let me just take a picture of this so I can put it in the chat. It's not an easy schedule, Chris, coming out the break. Not an easy schedule. Boom. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Chicago, Cleveland, Boston, Philly, at Memphis, at Miami, Golden State, Lakers, Clippers, Sacramento, Portland. So Chicago, look. Out the break, you should win that. But you're in a tough spot because guess what? Back-to-back. Hello. At Cleveland.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Hey, look, we're gonna see how, look, again, when we played Cleveland earlier on the season, again, I felt that game was a game the Knicks had in control and should have won, and some sloppy play cost us that game.
Yeah.
Regardless of the back-to-back, I think we play a good game against Cleveland. I wouldn't be surprised if we take both those games. What I want to see again, it's always the same thing, right? At Boston, will we be healthy? Maybe not Mitchell Robinson per se, but will OG Anunoby be back? That's what I want to see. I want to see how this Knicks squad looks like with OG Anunoby there to play against Boston.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a tough schedule outside of maybe two or three games, depending how you look at it. But yeah, tough schedule.
Buzzer Beater says, front office, Leon Rose grade. I would give Leon Rose an A. I would. Because, the trades that he has pulled off, obviously the more recent one, the Karl Anthony Towns trade, the 2 major trades this summer, Bridges, Cat, obviously, Bridges is due for an extension. We'll see regarding that. But your core is signed for the next few years. So even if year one, obviously, it's just year one, they still have a runway where they're still young. They're still all signed. You got Brunson for many years, Hart for many years, Anunoby for many years, Cat for many years, and the Bridges extension is coming. Then you got to improve this bench this summer. Mitch's contract, depending this summer, I think he's a trade piece. Deuce is a trade piece. So you got to give to get. But I would give Leon Rose an A. I would. He's built a hell of a team. Hell of a team. Yeah, he's not afraid to pull that trigger,
Yeah. I'll give him an A. I'll give him an A. Look, again, I questioned the Cat trade. I even said it. Is this the first mistake that Leon Rose has made? I still remember saying that, and boy, oh boy, was I wrong. Simple as that. Look, it seems like any move he makes doesn't miss, right? So Leon Rose, keep doing your thing.
Don't miss. Hopefully that answers your question. Yuri says, any news on Mitchell Robinson? Mitchell Robinson is the latest from Ian Begley. Wasn't too promising, I thought. He said that it's kind of, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he pretty much said that Mitchell Robinson, it's kind of like strange that he just hasn't been cleared for full 5-on-5 practice. That's pretty much what he said. So I don't know. Maybe this week he gets cleared for 5-on-5 full contact practice. I hope. I just think it's the Knicks just being extra cautious. So
yeah, I think so too. And I think Tibbs said he was close to being cleared, if not cleared. So I'm not concerned. I think Mitchell, if not at the end of February, which I think is what they're saying, right, or early March.
yeah.
Let's just hope it doesn't get pushed back any further, because I do, when it comes to Mitch, if there's one thing I've noticed with his injury history, it takes him a good amount of games to just find his footing again. So, you don't want, come playoff time, Mitch is trying to still find his conditioning and find, his game. That would be bad in my opinion.
Yeah, so hopefully he's back soon. Loud and clear says Leon, A+. This rover, Leon Rose, can make no mistakes. No mistakes. It's funny. He kind of, Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. But
hey man, he flipped those. He flipped those. So
he did.
Even though it didn't look pretty, he got something for it.
Hey, Fournier to Detroit, Grimes to Detroit. And then that pretty much, yeah. I mean, every move has pretty much, it's like a domino effect kind of, but it's
something bigger.
Look, you can't bat 1,000. Like, you gotta have mistakes.
Yeah,
you gotta have mistakes. Like, if Leon Rose is playing baseball, I would say his batting average is what, like 400. He's up there. He's up
like
there.
435,
and that's elite. you can't. Even the best swing, like even the best of the best, they make mistakes. Pat Riley right now is going through it. So
yeah,
but yeah, I'm not worried about it. Like Leon Rose has been awesome. He has been. He's changed the franchise, changed the culture, and now I would say in the next 4 years, the Knicks have a strong possibility of winning an NBA championship. And in my lifetime, I don't think I would have ever said that. Like,
yeah,
those words being uttered out of my mouth, like. Dude, there was times where we were like 5-40, and I was still looking forward to watching the New York Knicks play.
I was actually mentioning that to a coworker the other day. Yeah, I'm you're talking about lineups with Lou Amundsen, Langston Galloway, and still rooting for that team like every game was the finals, basically. But yeah, look, this front office, don't take it for granted, man. It's been a long time since the Knicks have, just let alone not be a laughingstock, right? But to have a capable team, like we have, to have a great coach, to have the front office also, look, it's been a long time since the Knicks have been this good, up and down the entire organization. So we got to enjoy it, Knicks fans, because we've definitely seen how bad it can get.
Yes, we have. All right, Chris. Trivia?
Trivia time. Let's do it.
Those of you just joining, we do trivia every single week, every single podcast episode. Chris is 6-5. He got his question right last week. I am 6-4 on the trivia segment. It is Chris's turn to ask a trivia question. Go ahead.
Here we go. Who was the last New York Knick to win All-Star MVP? Is it A, Willis Reed. B. Patrick Ewing. C. Walt Clyde Frazier. D. Richie Guerin.
A. Willis Reed. B. Patrick Ewing. C. Walt Frazier. D. Richie Guerin. The last Knick to win All-Star MVP. Right when I saw this question, Chris, I quickly navigated to D. Richie Guerin because this man has been in every single stat graphic. Jalen Brunson passes Richie Guerin. Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, first Knick ever since Richie Guerin. He must have been awesome, and Tony says this is a good one. Robert says, I guess D. Loud and Clear says A. Crazy Giant fan says Frazier. Size 9 says Frazier. Then we got some Willis Reed. Oof. Last Knicks to win All-Star MVP. Frazier. Oh man, this is tough. I don't know if I'm gonna get this right, man. I don't know if I'm gonna get this right. I honestly don't know. A lot of Frazier in the chat, man. A lot of Frazier. Robert says, I don't even know when Rick Guerin played. Yeah. I'm going to go with... Man. I'm going to go with C. Walt Frazier. Final answer.
Final answer.
Final answer.
I'll work my way down the list.
Why you got to do that, man?
Willis Reed did win an All-Star MVP. Patrick Ewing did not. Walt Clyde Frazier did win an All-Star MVP. Richie Guerin did not.
Let's go.
So the last Knick to win an All-Star MVP is C. Walt Clyde Frazier, 1975. And Willis Reed did it at 1970. So you are correct. It is Walt Frazier. Shout out to the chat. I know a lot of you guys had Frazier. It was a good question. How to keep the All-Star theme rolling.
Man, I really wanted to say Richie Guerin. This man has been in every graphic that I've seen this year. But honestly, shout out to the chat. And obviously, Walt Frazier is a legend and a GOAT. Size 9, got it right. Robert says, I guess D. No. HRM got it right, says Frazier. Yeah. AP says, but all of those players, Patrick Ewing leads them in all stats or all stars? I think all stats. Yeah. Look, Ewing was obviously amazing in his own right.
I mean,
but
every player on this list there is they're amazing.
Yeah. I mean, so Walt Frazier was the last Knick to win the All-Star MVP, huh?
It's crazy, right?
And with this new All-Star format, I don't.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think I don't understand what's going on. Obviously, it just ended. Do you know who won the All-Star game? I know this is we can filibuster here a little bit. Did Shaq's team win? Those of you in the chat, who won the All-Star game? Who won the All-Star game? Is it the championship? It's going on. Maybe it's still. Is it still going on? I don't know. Maybe it could be still going on. Oh, it is still going on.
Oh, it's still going on. Yeah, I think it's Team Chuck versus Team Shaq, right?
Yeah, it isn't. Right now, Team Shaq is winning. It's the first points till 40. It's first team to 40 points, and Team Shaq already has 39. So looks like Team Shaq is gonna win. And So Karl-Anthony Towns is not going to win. His team is Team Chuck. So, yeah, I don't even know what they're doing this year. That's a whole nother conversation. They're trying to make it more appeasing and more entertaining. I don't know where they go.
What did you think about Wemby and Chris Paul trying to cheat the system in the skills challenge?
Skills challenge?
They were just
that was kind of funny, actually. That was hilarious.
It's kind of smart on their part, I'll say. I mean, they were just, tossing the ball and then just running, and basically you make an attempt, so it's still technically counted. And then they got disqualified.
I'm going to be honest with you. I turned on Jalen Brunson's 3-point competition. He lost. I turned it off. Tonight, the All-Star game, I'll be honest with you, I saw Brunson's team got eliminated right off the gate.
Yeah.
Cat is, was playing versus Team Shaq and Team Chuck. Obviously, we're doing the pod during this game. I'm just totally not interested. I saw Kevin Hart was there, trying to, crack jokes and whatnot, and Mr. Beast was there. Some fan won $100,000, hit a half-court shot, so I guess that's pretty cool. But I don't know. The juice to me is like our guys are there, but which I love.
It's just different,
it's not the
right?
same. It's just not the same.
I wanted JB to make the finals of the 3-point contest. Obviously, that didn't happen. Hell, that was going to be my trivia question. I was going to say, who was the last Knick to win the 3-point contest? But that was going to be a hell of a trick question, considering we haven't had one.
Didn't Nate participate in that one year? Steve Novak, I know, definitely did.
Yeah,
J.R. Smith, they didn't win though.
No winners for the Knicks, unfortunately. Yeah. So I figured the question would be too easy if I put none at the end.
Size 9 says NBA makes some dumb changes the moment Knicks have 2 starters.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, man. Robert says, I'd rather watch the GMs play a half-court game. You know what, Robert? I think you're onto something. Imagine Leon Rose out there and
the celebrity game, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And look, I just feel like the players did it to themselves with just not trying. And then Adam Silver's just trying to make, it just appeasing to the young fans. And I don't really think any of his changes are working. And maybe I could be wrong, but players just want to have fun, man. It's the All-Star break, and the reality is, I tell you this right now, most of these players do not want to be here at the All-Star game, and that's kind of like the issue. Maybe if you made the All-Star week longer, maybe, so that gives All-Stars more time to go away on vacation and kind of like split up the season, because Hart's on vacation right now. A bunch of Knicks are on vacation. They don't even care about the All-Star game. So maybe you make it longer so these guys can have more of a break. Because when you're in the All-Star game and having the All-Star festivities and you're still dealing with media, you're still traveling, you still got to participate, you still got to do all these interviews.
It's true. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe you're onto something there, I know the thought around this All-Star was get some of the youth involved, get them to play against some of the NBA's All-Stars, obviously. But I don't know. I still don't see the effort really there. And do you really want your favorite players from your favorite teams risking it for an All-Star break, right? And that's what it boils down to, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be tough for them to figure it out, but it is starting to get a little bit stale, dare I say.
It might be, and that's sad because the NBA is such an amazing product. And I just look, it's even LeBron came out before the game and said, I'm not playing. I have an ankle injury. And a lot of people were just up in arms about LeBron with that. It's like, somebody else could have took your spot if you would have just said this a few days ago. It's like, I don't know. He's like sticking it. It's like he's sticking it to the league, kind of. I don't know. So
He
something's
shouldn't,
going on
man.
there.
They just gave him Luca.
That was good. That was good. That was good. You just got Luca, LeBron.
What more do you want?
What more do you want, man? Tendrell says, making sure that no one cares about the skills challenge, the 3-point contest, and the dunk contest. I don't know. I feel like that's more exciting than the whatever they got going on today. Maybe make some different competitions. Like, maybe just take away the game. Like, just take away the game and just make it like a fun weekend. 3-point contests, just half-court stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy I don't have to find a solution for that. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, we don't get paid the big bucks, Chris. We're just two guys with a mic. All right, Knicks don't play until Thursday, but then they got a back-to-back Chicago Bulls, Cleveland Cavaliers. This was fun. Appreciate every single one of you joining us tonight. Once again, if you are on Apple and Spotify, please smash the follow button. Those of you on YouTube, if you were to, please do us a favor and head over to Apple or Spotify. Type in Knicks Nation, see the logo, see Chris and I pop up. Please follow. Really helps out the audio side. Discord. Hop into Discord. I'm in the Discord. We take live calls now, post games. That's starting to pick up some steam. I'm really excited about that. And yeah, this was fun. Not really much else to talk about, but let's go Knicks. Rest up. Big Mitch coming back. Let's go.
See you soon. We're gonna have a hell of a second half. I'm speaking it into existence.
Tony says, will the Knicks finish higher than the 3rd seed? I don't think so. Barrett, I don't think so. I think it's Knicks 3, Boston 2, Cleveland 1. Maybe Cleveland and Boston will flip-flop, but I think the Knicks are pretty much locked in the 3rd seed, Chris. I know that's kind of crazy to say on February 16th, but
I think they can. I think they can get the 2 seed.
Yeah.
I think they can. It just depends if they can, right the ship and get hot at the right time.
Yeah.
They're definitely capable of. I'll say that much.
Tenjo says horse challenge. Yeah. Horse challenge, trick shot challenge. I don't know, maybe. HRM says Brunson said he'd host a Knick Twitter basketball game. I saw that, Chris.
Wow.
Brunson said he'd host a Knicks Twitter basketball game. 2-on-2. Let's go, man. We'll be there. If that happens, I will definitely be there.
I'll start trading now.
Definitely got to get our shots up. Got to get our stamina up. There will be some training involved, but that will be fun. Knicks Nation versus, I don't know, like if we get matched up with Knicks Fan TV or, another big creator, that'll be fun. But I saw that on X, and he said he would host a Knicks content creator basketball game. So
that'd be dope.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. All right, this was fun. Let's get out of here. I'm Anthony.
I'm Chris.
Catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.